Good evening, Ruskin enjoyers. Hope they're right, 'cause it's time for Profit Review. Last week we discussed the May 8, 2025 Rustore, and that means today we're here to talk about the likes of the May 15, 2025 Rustore. So sit back, relax, and I'll start yapping. Right, so just want to quickly sit here and say SCMM is kind of working, but also mostly not. So we might have issues. Just in case, I also have this screenshot that we can take a look at. It's not the best, but this is what we're going to have to work with, because it really wouldn't surprise me if SCMM is going to be very helpful for today. But anyway, what was my initial reaction when I first saw this Rustore? Well, a pretty big one compared to the previous week. Alright, 1 week we only have 8, and then we're back to about 12. Cool. Oh look, the Heat Seeker SAR has appeared. Wow. It was the transparent aim sight SAR. We knew about this. So basically, I had already seen in game. So if I could just quickly showcase this to you, Heat Seeker SAR. I made a big fuss about that transparent, fully transparent design. There was a regular version, and there was this one, and Face Punch went with the fully transparent one. It had more transparency compared to the Imp SAR. And the Imp SAR was like a fairly well-known, like, transparent aim sight skin. So popular that it went all the way up to $50. And now we have a $3 alternative that's got even more transparency compared to it. Well, thank you very much, Face Punch. So yeah, things were pretty cool. Things were pretty interesting. So that was an interesting collection continuation to the AK-47 we saw for the previous week. Oh, an armor double door. Out an ego. Well, so yeah, sorry. Armor double door, the second one of the year. We had just seen a Twitch drop. So that was cool. I'm not going to complain. And it's a green one. Doesn't glow, but maybe people appreciate, like, trying to camouflage their bases. We just literally had, like, the Jungle Ivy rug being accepted, like, 2 weeks prior. So perhaps some people to appreciate a good armored double door. Would we see as many armored double doors as we did the previous year? Because I think we got 5 in total, with 3 of them being marketable. But the marketable ones all turned out quite nice. Like, there was no issues. They went up into positive. They worked out nicely. It's due to that sheer lack of skins overall. So, okay, fair enough. Looking at all the other skins, okay, cool. We get some collection continuations for the Tiger collection. Oh, look, Tiger hoodie and pants. That's very nice to see. Oh, yes, oh, yes. So, we had some clothing armor sets developing quite nicely. Firefly's wood storage box appears. We questioned, oh, could you hide that in the jungle and the forest and whatnot? A nice green small box, but it's a Firefly skin. It's going to glow. Oh. A green AK-47? This literally appeared just as I had made a video showcasing all the various different green weapons in the jungle and what probably works out very nicely, and then a brand new one appears. Thank you, Face Punch. And then the first ever customized aim sight double barrel shotgun skin, that being the Deep Ruby double barrel shotgun. So, okay, overall some pretty cool looking skins, and I haven't even mentioned the Ruin Sap, another green weapon, but it's a sap. Did we just have a sap skin? Yes, we did. Oh, okay, that's kind of a bit odd. And then another neon skin has appeared as well. There's a bit of a break, but, in 2024, we got a whole batch of neon skins. No longer was it a neon storage collection anymore. No, it went from small boxes to lockers to garage doors, and another resubmission happened with the neon exit garage door, and it was accepted. Okay, cool. Could we potentially see more of those in the future? But also, another garage door in 2025. Okay, just saying. So basically, let's now hop back over to here and let me talk about, like, the predictions. When I looked at all the skins, what was I considering to potentially be a very nice investment? Well, in order of all the skins, I had to talk about the Heat Seeker SAR. That was the first thing I talked about. Nothing compared to it. And if the Imp SAR was selling for $50, what's going to happen to that? And also, the skin creator was very quick to get another, continuation out. What would be next? We're starting to see a pretty cool looking collection develop for the summer of 2025. The Heat Seeker collection. Heat Seeker Summer. So, okay, that's a pretty cool thing. Yeah. Oh, no. Anyway, so, alright, had to mention it because, like, again, it just felt like everything was lining up perfectly. But when I initially looked at the sales, so let's just quickly take a look at that. So, here we are. A good few hours in, that SAR wasn't even the top selling skin. It was 4th best selling. Okay, fair enough. Well then, Such a very nice pay-to-win aim sight on a skin such as that, for a collection that was clearly developing ever so nicely. That was looking to be very appealing. But was it always going to be in that position? About 4th best in terms of sales? We'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. Now, next, I looked at and talked about the Armoured Double Door, Cobalt Jungle container doors. Armoured Double Doors, due to sheer lack of acceptances, even with fairly recent Twitch drops, they all reliably just went back up in price. Yep, not to insane numbers, but as time went on, quite a few of the skins that were accepted a couple of years like prior and whatnot, they did actually rise up to good prices. So yeah, as a nice slow burn, long-term investment, that Cobalt Jungle Armoured Double Door, with its nice green foliage, and yeah, basically we're still seeing more jungle-themed skins being accepted. That was looking pretty good. That was actually looking very appealing, so alright. Maybe that could be a nice consideration. Tyre, boots and gloves, continuation for the tyre collection, the blackout alternative for this year. Of course, we also recently saw the black alligator, but we were in a position now, for those boots and gloves, hopefully they'd match up to the sales that we had with the previous skins, but we just literally needed tier 3. Just needed tyre tier 3 and everything would be perfect. All the core pieces and the boots and gloves would be accepted. Surely that'd be nice and easy and we'll definitely get that accepted, right? We'll move on. Just looking at all the remaining skins, and I have to remind myself, yep, Tiger clothing, the very, a brand new clothing armor set potentially. And let me also point this out. So many green clothing armor skins were submitted to the workshop because everybody's like really hoping to try and get a green collection because, it'd sell a lot. Camouflage in the jungle, yes please. Face Punch goes and accepts the orange Tiger collection. Not green, orange. Thank you, Face Punch. So yeah, that happened. And everybody was just super happy, of course, yes. They got to be cats. Yay, yay. They weren't happy. So, yeah, okay. Still, by default, if we were to see a continuation, those hoodie and pants would very likely go up in price ever so nicely. Doesn't matter. So as long as you see new core pieces being accepted, the pre-existing would still bounce up. But all those clothing armor pieces there, boots, gloves, hoodie and pants, not abnormal. It might be a bit of a concern, but still, if continuations were to appear, things would still look pretty good. Okay. Then looking at all the other skins, I questioned the double barrel shotgun. I don't think you can see the sales here, so hopefully I'll scroll down. But basically, the first ever customized aim sight, I thought maybe we could see that double barrel shotgun maybe be appreciated as time goes on. Also, another collection continuation for the Deep Ruby collection. The prices of the skins initially didn't work out very nicely, but with more and more acceptances, it was slowly improving. It was slowly kind of getting a fair bit better. Double barrel shotguns in general, though, not exactly the best of investments, are they? No. So I had to also take that into consideration. Looking at the other skins, I then decided to talk about the Fireflies small box. So in theory, a green small box, perfect. Hang on a minute, no, it glows in the dark. Oh. The jungle update had come out, and we were questioning things we can hide in the jungle, and, well, green small boxes, green sleeper bags and all that, you know what I'm talking about. Can you hide it in the bushes? Can you hide it in the plants? So during the day, we did this comparison. It's actually perfectly fine during the day, but at night time, it was easy to spot. It was a concern, it was a worry. The Fireflies collection was actually a deplorable collection that's actually doing very good for itself. Back in May 2025, it was also doing very good for itself back then as well. Okay, you know what? We have to acknowledge that, we have to respect that, and who knows, maybe we'll start seeing a lot more Fireflies deplorables being produced from here and now. Mr. Zinc, or Heat Seeker SAR, a lot of collections. So who knows what he's going to produce next, but it's definitely a consideration. Looking at all the remaining skins, I then talked about the road sign backpack. I thought, oh, okay, then that's a bit unique, that's a bit different, that's a bit strange, but maybe it could work out quite nicely. We'll see. And then there's the likes of the SAP. I mentioned it earlier. SAP was also looking to be very, very interesting. At night time, you could actually see it very, very nicely. It's got some very good, weird night light, which just stands out super brightly for some reason. But yeah, it was another SAP skin after just having one. But SAPs in general, they tend to retain their value very nicely. So, okay, fair enough. Green, red aim sight, should be good. Should be good in the jungle. Then we have the Bamboo AK-47, and I mean, it's nice to see, yeah, it's very cool, but how many green weapons do we actually have now? Quite a few. Now we got another one. And I thought, you know what, maybe that could be special, but it's an AK. But, you know, it's the jungle, camouflage and all that, right? Yeah. But if I can recall, this was selling for quite a high price. So I wasn't really super invested, and I wasn't 100% sure if that was going to be all right. So, shall I now go ahead and talk about the first 24 hours of sales? So let's go to it. So we'll go over to here. Look at all the skins. That SAR wasn't really selling that much. And that AK, $3.49. Are you surprised to see it wasn't selling that much? But we had a lot of hype. We'll talk about all the green things and how you can camouflage yourself ever so nicely and whatnot. No, the weapons, they weren't selling that much. But all the better for them to potentially rise up in price in the future. But yeah, Cobalt Jungle container doors, high selling at just over 10,000 subscribers. Not bad, not too much of a problem. But I really was surprised to see that SAR just wasn't selling that much. It was matching up to the sales from the AK-47 from the previous week. It looked like it was going to sell just as much. A skin with a super transparent pay-to-win aim sight such as that, selling at the same amount as the AK, which would mean just under 20,000 subscribers. What? So I was a bit surprised by that. Garage door selling nicely. Seems people do appreciate having some sort of directional garage doors in their base. Alright. Firefly small box, selling somewhat reasonably. Cool. The boots, the gloves, and the hoodie and pants here selling quite alright. But these boots and gloves are actually selling just a little bit more compared to the previous skins. It looked like these were going to sell more compared to the tier 2 and the hoodie and pants that we saw prior. Could that be a potential problem? Well, we'll have to see how that was, you know, on the night when we did the abnormals. So yeah, overall, the sales, quite surprising. But I have to talk about what happened over the course of the rest of the week. So let me just quickly remind you that I put out this video, Imp SAR versus Heat Seeker SAR. Sorry to say, but that Heat Seeker SAR was just completely better, a much better option. And to repeat, Imp SAR, when we saw the Heat Seeker SAR appeared, that was selling for $50. Heat Seeker SAR, you could go ahead and buy, 13 of them for the same price as the Imp SAR? And a lot of people started to become very aware of it. Now, it wasn't my short video, but someone else put out a TikTok and made a big fuss about the transparency on the aim sight for the SAR. And it got 200,000 views. And you're going to sit there and say, Hedge, what's all the fuss about? Well, as you can see here, it was the third best selling skin. This was on Friday. Yep, Friday. Cool. By Sunday, it eclipsed the sales that the Armored Double Door did, because word got around and more people suddenly became aware of the Heat Seeker SAR's transparent aim sight. Quite a jump, I know, but it had to be addressed. Because what happened with that is it just went... Word got around, everybody was starting to buy it, tons of people buying it in excess as well. But it felt a bit justified, didn't it? Because again, with the help that you get with the aim sight, it was ridiculous. So now, let's go ahead and talk about what did we do when we looked at all the skins for the abnormal barders. Let's go hop over to here. Right, it is May 21st. It is Wednesday night, and I can see that Heat Seeker SAR has 34,000 plus subscribers. It was projected to do around 19 to 20,000 subscribers initially. But nope. So just to remind you, this is the abnormal barders on the night of, May 22 rolling to May 23. 21. May 21. Yes, because then it was 22 next day. Yeah, okay. So that had a ton of views, by the way. That had over 2,000. By my standards, especially with the abnormal barder videos and whatnot, we don't get 2,000 regularly. Maybe a good solid 1,000, but clearly a lot of people did care. So I just want to emphasize this point. Cool. So back over to here. So that SAR. I was aware that an MP5 had been submitted, and yes, it also had a transparent aim sight. The collection very likely was going to continue to grow. Face Punch had opened the floodgates, right? If they accepted a super transparent SAR, would they be willing to accept a super transparent MP5? We were buzzing? No. We were super motivated and we were positive it was very likely going to happen. But that SAR was still selling quite a lot. We had to take that into consideration. But it still felt like it was going to be justified, because if we kept seeing more and more of these skins being produced over the course of the weekend, the summer, it honestly felt like everything was going to line up perfectly, and we're going to have a very, very cool looking weapon collection that's going to progress ever so nicely during the summer. Heat Seeker Summer. I suggested for a price of $2 to $2.50. Yes, a $3 skin, $2 to $2.50. Because I just couldn't help but assume that, yeah, sure, during the summer it'll probably progress ever so nicely, rise up in price ever so nicely. But once we reach around September, October, November, which I call as the autumn fall seasonal dip, I just felt like we would see that probably drop off, maybe go back to around its rust or price. To just kind of give you a good solid picture, I thought that SAR was going to comfortably sit above $4. That's where I thought it was going to end up at. We'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. Armor Double Door, the Cobalt Jungle Container Armor Double Door. That was sitting there just over 23,000 subscribers. I questioned everything, especially in the future, of how it might progress, and I suggested offering $1.70 to $2.20. It felt like it was going to do a very decent job of retaining its value in the foreseeable future, and I was aware the skin creator was considering making collection continuations. More doors, more Cobalt Jungle. Okay, that sounds pretty appealing. Neon Exit Garage Door. So basically, with the amount of garage doors we saw being accepted, it was becoming a problem. It was being iffy. I know I didn't really talk about this that much just a little bit earlier, but I really got to emphasise the point that we were seeing constant garage doors being accepted over the course of the past few weeks, after just having an announcement that we were going to get 2 garage door Twitch drops in the month of May. Yes. I believe up to this point, we had 5 in total. 3 weeks into May, and there was still like 2 more rust doors to go. Okay, cool, awesome. So that's going to do very good for garage doors in general, isn't it? But also, looking at the previous neon garage doors, they didn't really go up in price super crazy either. So I looked at them, I made considerations for the future, and I suggested 70 cents to $1. Yep, that was the suggestion. Now, Firefly's wood storage box, the small box. I was fully well aware the small box glowed in the dark, and it wasn't exactly the best thing to hide out, outside in the jungle and whatnot, because people will see it, people would spot it. But maybe if you're only going to use it during the day, would it really be that much of a problem? Anyway, I looked at it, I questioned it. I was aware that there were other green small boxes that you could like compare to and whatnot. I suggested 70 cents to $1. But I was aware Firefly's collection was doing pretty good for itself, especially at this point. But even then, I had to question it a lot, and I just wasn't feeling super confident, so I suggested with a lower price. Road Sign Large Backpack, a pretty strange looking design, but I wasn't really into it. It was a $2 skin, if I can recall. I suggested 70 cents, 90 cents. I was aware the skin creators also did intend to make a collection continuation. It's just wasn't feeling it. I just don't really trust backpack skins really as investments. And then we have the Deep Ruby double barrel shotguns. So if I could just quickly play here, I think you'll see that I'll scroll down. There you go. That had just barely over 8,000 subscribers. It was the lowest selling skin of the week. So at $2.49, I thought, okay, is it even going to retain its price? Is it going to become a profit? I questioned it a lot, and I thought, no, it's going to very likely end up like most double barrel shotgun skins, down in price, and most likely about around half its price. So I suggested $1 to $1.50. Just didn't have that much faith in it, I'm afraid. Okay, well, that was all the abnormal skins. What about the regular skins as well? So Tire, Road Sign gloves, and boots. They had sold a fair bit more compared to the previous skins. But as time goes on, the amount of extra sales they got really wasn't that much. I honestly thought it doesn't matter. So as long as we see tier 3, that should be all right. So I suggested 70 cents to 80 cents, which is pretty okay. Not too much of a problem. Tiger hoodie and pants. I looked at it. I questioned it. I was aware that the skin creator had got tier 3 on the workshop. I was like, okay, well then. 65 cents to 75 cents for both of them. I wasn't super interested. They hadn't sold that much. And I was like, well, I don't think anybody else really cares for them. Not to sound mean, but like you have to kind of respect how other people are approaching these skins and whatnot. But I had to, respect that if we did see the tier 3, that was going to spike a price ever so nice. 99 cents for now, but where would it be afterwards? Well, maybe we'll have to talk about that in a bit, won't we? Then we had the Ruined Sep. So for the Ruined Sep, I suggested $1 to $1.50. Perfectly fine suggestion, what I normally do for a $2 Sep skin. They don't really rise up in price that much. They don't really go down in price that much. But $1 to $1.50, when times are bad, I'd very likely pick up a decent amount of them at $1.50. even with $1. Now, one thing I just noticed, we didn't talk about the Bamboo AK-47, sorry about that. Second lowest selling skin, 8,300 subscribers, $3.49. I looked at it, I questioned it a lot, and I just came to the conclusion that people didn't care for it. I suggested offering $1.20 to $1.70 because I just couldn't help but assume it's going to drop off pretty badly, even with not that many sales and with it being green with a very cool looking red aim sight. Well then, that's that. So, shall we now go ahead and talk about what are the outcomes? Well then, let's go over to here. Well, this outcome is the SMM's not working, so. Okay, so the outcomes. Let me bring this up to you. I have my list of things I bought so far this year in 2025, and looking at all the skins here, I will confirm to you, I bought 10 Heat Seeker SARs and 50 Jungle Container Armored Double Doors. The SAR, I wasn't super convinced. I thought maybe there could still probably be a little bit too much. I could see it working out very nicely as time goes on. I honestly thought it was going to be reasonably okay. I just was a little bit more worried about September, October, November. I thought it was going to drop off. So, okay, I'll buy a few of them, you know, not too many, but a decent amount. And then, of course, you know, when the time is right, at some point in the summer, I'd sell them. And with the Armour Double Door, long-term investment. I felt confident with that. So, Heat Seeker SAR, you sold the most. You reached up to 39,000 subscribers. I thought that was going to retain quite nicely, probably end up at around $4. But right now, specifically, that is there at $5.34. And it was even better than that. But let's talk about the whole situation, because of course I was making comparisons with this compared to this. The Imp SAR was selling for $50. So if I could just quickly, sorry about that, lifetime. There you go. Okay, so not too long ago, this was comfortably sitting at about $50. But then, so of course the Heat Seeker SAR appeared, didn't it? Yep. But it wasn't just that. You know, this obviously has basically halved in price, which is quite sad to see, but, you know, a brand new, better thing came out that was a whole lot more approachable, a whole lot more affordable. You could buy 13 Heat Seeker SARs compared to these $50 Imp SARs. But it wasn't just the Heat Seeker SAR. We also happened to see in the Bellum free Twitch drops for 2025 in June, that Silver SAR. That appeared. And when we found out about that, I was on stream and I was like, yeah, we got to sell our SARs. We got to sell our Heat Seeker SARs immediately. See, again, hopping back over to here. The Heat Seeker collection was progressing very nicely. Heat Seeker Summer was a legit thing. Literally the very next week, the MP5 appears. Thompson, there's a week or two break. Then we got the Python and the Hit and the Revolver. Like, this worked out so nicely, and that SAR just took off. So, for quite a decent amount of time, that was selling between $8 to $10, and I'm not joking. Scroll. Let's go over to here. Let's go look at this specifically. Almost $10, kind of dips a little bit, then more continuations appear, so it goes back up in price. It was just comfortably sitting around $8. But when we found out about that Silver SAR, so when you see this, when you see like the price dropping off, right, there was a reason. But it was a bit slow, if I could recall. So feel free to comment below. Were you one of those people that were in stream and were making a big fuss about this? And I was like, yeah, I got to go sell mine. I bought 10 SARs and I sold them all for a lovely $8 price. All right, I made good profit. But right now, as you might notice, yeah, it's currently sitting at $5, which is better than what I was expecting. But this did drop off, reach a low point at $4, and then start to grow back up again. Let me elaborate that right now, it is 2 weeks into July. Okay, the player counts haven't really been all that for the summer. Now, compare this to last year, still very good. But considering we got the jungle update back in May, there really wasn't anything for June and July. There wasn't really anything there. I mean, yeah, there's Rust, yeah, but something like content or something new to really get people to jump in and enjoy themselves. We're not really expecting that until maybe later, you know, in a few months' time, we'll get the naval update. So we had a bit of a dip in price during June. And I don't fully understand why it happened, and it annoys me because I'd love to explain it if I could. So this went down, and many other skins went down in price, but this has started to recover ever so nicely. It's climbing back up. It was $4, now it's starting to rise up. This very likely might reach a nice high point again at some point in August. So if you're one of those people that didn't sell, once we initially found out about the Silver SAR. Don't worry, you probably might still maybe, be able to make some decent profit once we hit August 2025 time. But be wary, September, October, November, the autumn-fall seasonal dip. That period of time is where we expect kids to go back to school and focus, school and not play Rust, and less people playing Rust equals lower prices. You get the idea. I worry for that. Now, 39,000 subscribers. It's not an absolute insane amount compared to like all the other skins that sold so much more, but it's still a lot. There's still a lot to go around, and there will be a lot of those appearing on the Steam market. That already has 534 listings. How many are we going to see around October time? Wouldn't surprise me if we reach up to 1,000. All right, do not be surprised. So yeah, more skins appearing definitely helped out initially, but then something that came out that was available for absolutely free ruined its momentum. It dropped off, but that is still a very nice position. $5 instead of $3. It's a profit. So did you buy any skins? Did you sell them at the right time? And if not, do you still happen to own any? Feel free to comply. So okay. The $2 to $2.50 barter price, I'm not really upset with that suggestion, because as time goes on, once we reach around October time, I won't be surprised if this goes to evens. I won't be surprised if I pick up a bunch of them, alright? So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, okay? So we'll leave it at that. You're doing good at the moment. Then we have the Cobalt Jungle Container Armor Double Door. I bought 50 of these, and as you can see, the price has gone below its rustable price. Am I scared? Am I worried? Not really. This was expected. Now, just to quickly reiterate, there's 7 listings, 7 below its rustable price, and then it would then be back up to its rustable price. The barders here are still very good. I can't tell if I'm here or here, but I have bought some with barders as well. Not a ridiculous amount, but some. I'm fully expecting this to match up to the behaviour of the Pixel Armor Double Door from the previous year. See, that's one thing I didn't really mention, but of course we know we've had this issue here with SMM right now. But I compared this instantly with the Pixel Armor Double Door from the previous year, and that didn't really get that many sales. This did. But the Pixel Armor Double Door, because there's just like next to no skins, it still rose up to $4. So I honestly thought when I first saw this, regardless, I just can't help but assume it's going to go all the way to $4 like the Pixel Armor Double Door. Both of them don't glow in the dark. Pixel deplorables aren't exactly in demand, but people did like that. So at a bare minimum, I'm still expecting that to happen, but I've got to wait maybe until like post-Christmas, January 2026, to see that actually reach up to that price point. I do not expect it to drop off that much. Looking at all the barders here, that seems to be okay. So alright then, did you buy any of these yourself? Are you happy? Are you confident? Personally, I am. At $1.70 to $2.20, we're kind of already at that point now, aren't we? But I don't think it will be going that much lower. And if it did, oh my, but we're not seeing tons of armor double doors being introduced, are we? So, fair enough. It seems to be okay and stable. Over to here, Neon Exit Garage Door. Well, it's sitting here at $1.49 with the highest barter at $1.30. We did see another garage door being accepted, but the problem is, because we had to look at the collection here, there's just like all the boxes and whatnot. Look at that. But we did see recently a Neon Farm garage door. But it was another garage door, and that basically summarizes the point. Too many garage doors in 2025. We're currently looking as if this year we'll have a record-breaking amount, which in theory might sound nice, but not for these skins as investments. There's too many options to compare to. So, scrolling down, as you can see, it's just basically going down. Yeah. Whilst the suggested price of 70 cents to $1 hasn't really been met yet is the word. Once we reach October time, where most skins reach their lowest point, I won't be surprised if that $1 barter suggestion will work out quite nicely in terms of picking these up. So, have you picked them up already? Picked any up already with a barter, or have you bought any? Feel free to comment below. Moving on, Firefly's wood storage box. I was a bit wary of it. I wasn't sure if people are going to be super pleased with that, considering you can't really stick it out. You can if you want to. During the day, it's fine, but nighttime, you're going to see it. I suggested 70 cents to $1. Well, that's sitting at $2. It has very good barders, but give it time. I wouldn't be surprised if it drops off. But I do think I went a little bit too low. I should have offered a little bit more. 80 cents to $1.20 or something like that. I felt like that probably would have been a whole lot more appropriate. But that's still doing reasonably okay. And as I said, with its collection, so if I could just quickly go over to here, you'll see that we've had a decent amount of deplorables, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a decent amount or more potentially being accepted in the future. What will it be? We shall see. But only the rug was submitted after this acceptance, so Mr. Zinc, you certainly do submit a lot of skins for various different collections, but he's successful. He's a good skin creator, so can't blame him. Alright, so Fireflies. The price was a bit low, but maybe it drops off a fair bit once we reach October time. That kind of feels like wishful thinking, so okay, fair enough. I was too low. I got that wrong. Tara Road Sun gloves, and of course the boots. So that's sitting there at $1.13. That's sitting here at $1. Okay, you know what? That's fine. I'm all right with that. So looking at the prices, I suggested 70 cents to 80 cents. Have you managed to pick up any of these? I did buy some tire boots and I removed my buy order because, yeah, I went with 80 cents. And as you notice, yes. However, I could sell them right now and get a profit. Do I want to do that? I don't feel like I need to, and I'm fine with that. I kind of want to wait for tier 3. Where is tier 3, you might ask? Good question. Where on earth is tier 3? Oh, that is a question we've been asking for quite a while now. We have a version 1 and a version 2. So this was submitted towards the end of April. All right, cool. And this was submitted at the very beginning of June. Have you seen tier 3? Anybody? No? Okay. Why? Why face punch? Why? All the other skins, all the other core pieces accepted, boots and gloves as well. But where's the tier 3? Apparently we're not. We're just too naughty, I guess. Make sure, try and see if you like. Look, when you got your list for Santa, right? Write it down, okay? Maybe we'll get it then. But anyway, no, it didn't work out very nicely, unfortunately. But the gloves by themselves, they have progressed ever so nice. In general, when you look at the likes of black gloves, road sign gloves and whatnot, they actually tend to work out quite nicely. Boots too, they're both all right. They're not bad. They're not insanely great or anything, but they're all right. They're fine. Not going to complain. And the price suggestion, I have bought a few, not a lot, but a few of these tire road sign gloves. Could have probably offered a little bit more. True. But I'm not going to complain about this right now. But how will it be when we reach around October time? That's going to be the main question. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so that's fine for now. That's all right for now. But can we please have tier 3, please? Face punch, please. Anyway, moving on. Tiger hoodie and pants. So they sold a reasonable, what, 11, 12,000 if I can recall? That's fine. But it's not what people are asking for. So many people were asking and hoping for green clothing and armor, and it didn't happen, and people were annoyed, and this didn't sell that much. But the funny thing is that literally like a week or two later, we got the tier 3. That just, boom, appeared, and those hoodie and pants were all the way up to $2 to $2.50. Then they dropped off pretty quickly afterwards. It was very much a spike in demand, spike in price moment. But once all the fuss of, oh wow, we got an instant continuation pretty quickly, the price did drop back off and went back down again. So hopping back over to here, pants, you're sitting here at 78 cents. And as we can look over to here, the hoodie is just barely over $1. My price suggestion of 65 cents to 75 cents, I bought a few. Just a few. But then, yeah, the tier 3 appeared. Now, if anything, I do believe I bought the hoodie and pants after the tier 3 appeared, aka after like the quick, brief bit of hype. So I do hope we see some more. And I think we do have tier 2 in the workshop. Let me just quickly confirm that. Scroll. Now we've just got the boots and gloves. Yeah, we got quite a lot of incomplete bits and pieces here. It's very strange. Face punch, please help us out here. Maybe the skin creator will make tier 2 at some point in the future. We'll find out, but I don't know. Johnny Old Boy just stopped, I guess. Well, price suggestion seems to have been alright, considering I did buy a few. Did you? Well, feel free to comply. The road sign large backpack. It went down in price. Sold at $2. Now it's half in price. My price suggestion was, 70 cents, 90 cents. Oh, okay, then you very likely bought a bunch. Are you happy? Because I don't think you'll be able to sell it for a profit, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I just don't trust large backpack skins. Yeah, there's not much else to say. I just don't think people saw the appeal. It's pretty goofy. It's pretty silly. I just don't really think anybody cared for a rusty, silly road sign design. Now, there are clothing and armor pieces. There was submissions. There was an attempt for an actual collection, but that hasn't been accepted. I guess Face Punch didn't care for it. It is what it is. Sorry to say. But, yeah, that wasn't too surprising. The price suggestion as well, you bought some, but I don't think you can really make a profit, as I said. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe we'll look at it in a year's time and it'll be better. I mean, yeah. Feel free to comment below your own thoughts. Ruined Sap. So, that is below its rust price. Now, half the issue is, literally the very next week, we got the Croco Sap. A dark green sap skin was accepted. 3 weeks in a row, we've got 3 sap skins being accepted. So, it's thin. The buy orders are pretty okay, but the price still went below its rust price. Now, that's not doomed. As time goes on, that very likely will start to slowly go up in price, and it'll probably end up at like $2.20. Wow, it's a profit. No, not really, no. yeah, it's just okay. I'm fine with that. That was to be expected. And these barders here, well, I do believe that is me right there. I haven't bought any yet. But I'm pretty sure I will be as time goes on. Autumn, fall, seasonal depth. September, October, November. That is when I'll be expecting a whole bunch. We'll see. All right. So have you bought any? Did you pick up any of a barder? Feel free to comment below. But yep, Runesat, you're just doing okay. I'm not going to complain about that. It's matching up to expectation. Goodness. Yeah, this happened. Now, we also happened to see a Croco AK-47 being accepted. But no. This was already down in price by the time that appeared. This was already about like half its price by then. But right now, just to reiterate, this sold at $3.49. Now it sits here at just barely over $1. It just went down. Yep. People did not really care. Unfortunately. Yeah, it just dropped off and went down. It was very quick as well. The barders just weren't there to keep the price up. People who bought it clearly probably figured it out and just sold it as soon as possible. And yeah, I removed the barder on this. And I did remove the second one, the cheaper one, but I think the damage was already done. Oof, yeah. Yeah, people did not care. It's quite unfortunate. The $1.20 to $1.70 barter suggestion feels like that was too much, wasn't it? Yep. Awkward, very awkward. Sorry. But yeah, who would have guessed? I made such a fuss about green weapons and cloven armor. I was making very special videos in the jungle and whatnot. Still, these went down. Then we have the double barrel shotgun. So, the first ever customized aim sight on a double barrel shotgun, but it didn't matter. Double barrel shotgun skins just not loved enough. This has lost $1 of its value. However, my price suggestion was $1 to $1.50. Oh, smack dab, right on the spot. I wouldn't be surprised if this still goes below its rust price a bit further. AKA, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up going down potentially to just barely above $1 at one point. It's a perfectly fine purpley design. It's just I don't think people like Deep Ruby Collection. Now, let me also remind you that we did get some Deep Ruby clothing armor after this, but people didn't like that either. Why not? You've done nothing wrong. It's just not to people's favour. But yes, even with Tier 2, the hoodie pants and this rock, not much has changed for it, I'm afraid. Give it time, though. Maybe it slowly, progressively goes up in price. Someone might use all of the Deep Ruby as like a fun, silly little thing, and then people want to copy them. We'll see. But no, that did drop off. The price suggestion, I mean, if you bought them with a $1.50 barter, congratulations, but you can't make a profit yet, can you? And it's expected that this will go lower once we hit October time, so it's not the best, is it? No. Overall, in terms of the price suggestions with the buy orders, most of it was all right, but there were a few that weren't exactly holding up very nicely. Also, hope you enjoyed the flashbang. Right, so yes, sorry about the SMM issues. It's only just recently come back after some problems, but overall, it was a pretty interesting rush store. Some skins are actually in the positive right now, but quite a decent amount are basically, yeah, just down. Okay. Oh, you weren't $2.49, you're $2. Well, you know, congrats to you. You're in a positive slightly. Let's just give you a nice little preview for the next week, which will be May 22. And wow, look, more continuations. Yippee. Wow, they are down in price as well. Oh my, do we see a single skin here in the positive? Nope. Oh, that's going to be a fun thing to talk about. Oh, yes, indeed. So, next week is quite sad. Oh, mate. I did mention the MP5 was accepted instantly. Do you like the fact that it has 2,000 listings on the Steam market? But much like the SAR, as you can see here, price starting to improve. Okay, cool, but it still has 2,000 listings. Oh, yeah. Right, so, yep, that's that. Thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Did you make any profit? Are you stuck with some skins? Feel free to comment below. Best of luck to you and your investments. Enjoy the summer, and hopefully, as we approach August time, things will probably have a nice rebound and go back up in price again. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.